I want to preface this video by saying that any party or individual outside of Andrew Tate or anyone close to him that I pick on is only in good fun, and I believe in the ability to be able to laugh at ourselves as well as others. If you're easily offended, I would recommend clicking off now. This might take some time. I don't want to just make fun of his penis-shaped head and British/American dialect that makes Keanu Reeves' performance in Dracula look like a masterpiece.
No, let them go! Let them go! Our work is finished here.
I want to try and understand what makes such a broken individual tick. To do that, though, I have to humanize him, which seems incredibly disrespectful to all the women he has hurt and harassed since Jesus himself welcomed the feeble-egoed homunculus into the world by drop-kicking the little cunt out of paradise to torture us for creating hipsters, the Kardashians, cancel culture, and whatever the fuck a Danielle Bregoli is.
Kick the baby! Don't kick the goddamn baby.
And women should know not to lie.
Kick the baby!
I've spent a decent chunk of my time on this, at least 14 hours of research in, and I'm sure I've covered the information that I need to crack this case. I've nearly combed the entirety of the first page of Google. I've skimmed a third of the articles for vague details that fit my narrative, and I've only got distracted twice by celebrity gossip and zombie mobile games featuring the Ninja Turtles, which then led to other distractions. But trust me, I think I've got this. Emery Andrew Tate, what a tragic first name. I can see why he chose to remove that from his title. Was born on December 1st, 1986 in Saudi Arabia, an extremely conservative country. I'm kidding, but wouldn't that make so much sense considering his political views towards women? He was born in Washington, D.C. to an interracial couple, which has nothing to do with the narrative, but I need to fill at least 5 minutes of video, so fight me on it. He was raised alongside his younger brother, who plays such a laughable side character that I won't even bother naming him, and his sister that doesn't fit my narrative either. Tate's parents divorced in '97, roughly around the time Andrew would have been 10 years old. Now, why they divorced is beyond me. Just speculation and rumors, but my belief, from Andrew himself, is that his father lacked maturity and responsibility beyond himself to be a parent, and his mother, well, she wasn't much better off, but stuck around to make sure that her children were raised with some sort of morals and values. A short story by the man, the myth, the legend, the Taint himself. I was raised by a single mother in England. I wouldn't call my mother particularly nice or soft. I don't know why I'm doing this accent, by the way. In fact, me mother was mean and hard. It was really offensive. I usually saw me da about once a year when he would visit, and I remember one time they had a massive argument. I was about 13. Dad had come to visit. The day before he arrived, Mum took me to get a haircut at a place I didn't normally go. Alright, I'm gonna stop doing the accent now. They cut it differently. Mum didn't like it. I don't like how they cut your hair, Andrew. Me neither. We won't go there again. Dad stands up from the couch. What the fuck is wrong with you, woman? Crying about his haircut? This is the kind of man you're raising when I'm not around? Now Mum's crying and tells Dad to get out of the house or she's calling the police. Dad leaves. 1 hour into seeing him, first time in a year. See why I can't be around your dad anymore? Next day, Dad calls the house and tells me to go to the hotel he's staying at. I go. Females fucking around with haircuts. You won't be raised into a little bitch, he said. We left the hotel and he marched me to a barber shop where he paid to have my head shaved. I sat in the chair holding back tears as my head was shaved. Nobody in the world gives a fuck about your haircut. When you grow up, you'll see. They only care about what kind of man you are. Forcing Andrew to shave his head became a story Mother would tell of how insane my dad was for years to come. But guess what? He was totally right. My mother's intentions were pure, but she's a female. 2 years ago, I walked into a barber shop and they said, "How do you want your hair cut?" It reminded me of this story, and I told them to shave it all off. Nobody gives a fuck about my hair. They care what kind of man I am. Well, that might be Andrew, but you still wear luxury clothes, trim your beard, and ask people what color their Bugatti is, which sounds like someone who gives a fuck about how he looks. Also, I think it's more likely that you remember your male pattern baldness over this story about your neglectful ass father calling you a bitch and making you cut off all your hair. That seems more like something you'd want to repress. After his parents' separation, his mother would take Andrew and his siblings and relocate to a council estate in Luton, Bedfordshire, in England, which is where we get his broken accent and lack of enunciation. And let's be honest, there is a T in water. You should know
Water.
you invented the language. And before you mouth off in the comments about the American dialect in the South, you should also know that the ancestors that colonized most of the South were, well, you. Anyways, I couldn't find much about his upbringing beyond a handful of interviews with his family stating that he was a much different child than what he's become in adulthood, which isn't more than a stone's throw away from a serial killer documentary. Most of his relatives said that he was a very helpful and respectful boy growing up. Very attentive, he took great care of looking after his siblings and even cousins. This has led me to one theory, and I couldn't find any evidence to back it up, so if anyone can, I would love to hear about it in the comment section. I believe that Andrew grew up much smaller, weaker, and more akin to the incels he charges hundreds of dollars to take his Andrew's courses. It would make sense that an Andrew Tate with no father figure going into his teens, and considering his immense respect for the masculine father that came from the Air Force. What was his dad, Guile? And he was a chess master? Okay, Andrew, I think your father was full of shit when he was pumping your head with masculine ideologies. A masculine Air Force veteran is about as laughable as an intelligent Marine veteran. They don't pay you to cross into enemy territory and risk life and limb because they think you're bright.
Choke yourself! God damn it, with my hand, numbnuts! Get your fat ass over there, front pile!
Shit, I'm gonna piss everyone off with this video. Let me try and cap this off with what I believe led him down this dark road. Andrew's father is a massive part of who he is today. Being raised by a single mother who pushed a lot of her disdain for her husband onto her son probably didn't help. But more than that, his father, for the most part, seemed to have a very negative disposition towards women. And if Andrew's time in school was anything like the incels he preaches to, I would imagine his hatred towards women would only increase. The massive difference between himself now and the Reddit moderators that lick his toes are discipline and willpower. He set a goal to push his body into fighting shape. He entered tournaments and received praise for his skill and talent. This more than likely bolstered his ego, and for most people, he may have let off his steam about his past, but instead he took everything he learned and used it to build a company that any, and I'm sure every idiot has thought of, but most of us have enough self-respect and respect for women that we wouldn't, let alone bolster about it on social media. To put it bluntly, Andrew is one of the only incels to actually succeed in making a career and lifestyle out of his newfound shedding of celibacy. And also, I'm sure if you made fun of his degenerate-ass father, that'd probably more than likely make him cry. If I could leave Andrew with a bit of fatherly advice. Andrew, your father was a bitch. He was a coward that took pleasure in abusing women instead of protecting them or seeing them as equals. He more than likely knew this about himself, and feeling shame, he would beat his limp-wristed ideologies into his son in hopes of making you better than himself. And in doing so, you took all of the worst attributes possible, discarding anything useful, and instead of remembering that a firm handshake means more than what you look like, you decided to flaunt your luxurious lifestyle and hatred of women. It's never too late to make a change though, Andrew. Dismantle your business and liquidate your assets. Except for the women. Just let them out of their cages. Treat them as equals and encourage them to succeed beyond scamming guys out of money or making you your coffee, you lazy c***. You don't have to sell your Bugatti, but maybe change the color. It looks like shit. Beyond that, I don't know what else I can share that the internet as a collective doesn't already know. Everything beyond his childhood and young adult life is pretty common knowledge. Hell, most of my points are probably common knowledge, if not just hearsay, and I'm sure I'm offended more people than I've intrigued, but all in good humor and fun. We do a little trolling on this channel. Feel free to let the insults towards me fly in the comment section. Also, I have a special incel video planned for next week. I don't think you're going to want to miss it, so please stay tuned and feel free to let me know what you want to see in a future video. Please don't forget to show some love to my channel artist. His links are going to be in the description. And also, please don't forget to subscribe for weekly content and updates. Like and share the video to help me in the algorithm, and until next time, be well.